Here we go, y'all. Here we go. Here we go, y'all. Here we go. First Sky Omaha Radio. Good morning, good morning, good morning. You know what day it is? You guessed it. It was right. Good morning, good morning. Man, you kind of low. You kind of low. Turn up.
Hey, turn my headphones up.
Yo.
Ooh.
Check 1 2 1 2.
One,
Give
two.
me a check.
Check 1 2. How we sounding? Is it buttery, baby?
Yeah, put a little bit more booty on that microphone.
Is it buttery, baby?
There you go. There's the butter.
The butter, baby.
Over here, professional knob tweaking.
Hey. All systems a go.
Check 1 2.
Check 1 2. Whoop-de-doo. Women's Wednesday. Let me send out my reminders. Everybody, tell a friend and tell a friend. We about to get this thing rolling.
Man, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Another fresh edition of First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Shout out to Beth for giving us the feedback on the radio channel. I'm glad that you enjoyed the music. The 6:30 Club in the house is going down, and all of you, all the chat chimers, jumping in early already. That woman got Miss Erica Felt saying, "Hey, good morning."
Hey.
Chrissy Norris says, "Good morning." I got my YouTube fam in the house right now. Pop says, "Happy Women's Wednesday and live from Las Vegas." Appreciate you, Pops.
Man.
Lakeisha says, "Whoop-de-doo Women's Wednesday."
Whoop-de-doo to you too.
Miss Erica Felt says, "Sounds so good." Okay, good. I'm glad. Ariel's 402, Mayor Sanchez, 3-hour drive to work this morning. Left Bellevue at 4 a.m.
Oh man,
That's
quite
rough.
the commute.
That's rough, bro. Happy that we can roll with you.
Man.
Pop says, "You guys sound great." Mark Manor gives us a good morning.
Hey.
What's going on, bro? Also, Mama God says good morning. Amy H. No Doc gives us a good morning. It's going to be a beautiful day. Heard that.
Man.
What's up? And Mayor Sanchez says 3.5-hour drive home after work. O'Neill, Nebraska. Boy, you doing some driving.
6-hour commute today.
That's quite the commute, my brother.
I mean, that's almost a shift in itself. You know what I mean? You gotta work to get to work.
Yeah, I remember them days. I remember living in California. It was like 2.5-hour commute to work, 2.5-hour commute back.
Man.
Yeah, rough. Definitely rough.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to Mark Manor, man. I love it when the partners come together. He's got an article in the Reader. Excuse me, if you check that out, his article in the Reader on Omaha's open mics.
Yeah,
so
man.
that's what's up, man. It's a good article. Kind of spread out some of the open mics that's going on around town. Shakedown Tavern, Dry Spokes, which is one of my new favorite joints. That's where another chat chimer. Lucia Rodriguez, who was doing the sober socials, is doing their thing over there at Dry Spokes. Some of the best tasting drinks I ever had with no alcohol in them. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Dry Spokes.
I've been hearing more and more about those like dry socials, non-alcoholic, beverages and virgin, Marys and things, Bloody Marys and things like that.
Definitely a trend.
Yeah.
Going on right now with that. And these companies are coming out with actual like cocktails, mocktails, basically, with some actual flavors and stuff in them, man. Like real, like it ain't the O'Douls and Virgin Bloody Marys anymore. Them old fools. North Omaha Music and Arts, Mondays and Tuesdays, 7 p.m. So he's got one in North Omaha. He's looking at Down Under Lounge, also in Benson, or Benson area, I guess. Broke Down Palace. A few more to check out. He mentions Culture House, Maloney's in Council Bluffs. Also a couple more around here too, man. Hanks 2.0 has got a good jam session. A couple north side underground kind of north side spots too we can add to that list. But yeah, check out his article over there in the Reader. That's what's up. I'm happy to see Mark Manor writing about some music in Omaha because I trust your opinion more than anybody else's, bro. So you're in the scene in a real way. If you don't know, Brother Mark is the dude over there at Homer's Music. So if you want to get your record collection up, go talk to him over there and follow his page, man. He always got record reviews and all kinds of stuff going on, and also concert reviews. He goes to the more shows than anybody ever know too. So
man,
yeah. So that's what's up. Shout out to Mark Manor on that, man. The squad.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, actually, next month will be the Reader's Music Edition. So they're actually doing like a full out music thing next month. So again, the new issue is coming out tomorrow. The new issue is set to come out tomorrow. Shout out to Bridget, who pulled up on us on Monday and dropped that on us. So again, the new issue will be coming out tomorrow. But the following issue again will be all about music, man. So yeah, definitely check that out.
Like that. We got Mark in there just in time for the music month. That's what's happening.
Yeah, man.
Miss Erica Fell says, I like that because I never was a drinker if it wasn't Cavassier, but now that I take cancer drugs for 5 years, I can't have alcohol. Ooh, I didn't know. That was the side effect of that.
Well, yeah, I can imagine. Medication and alcohol not a good mix. But now you can kind of at least imagine that you getting down or just switch it up.
I'll tell you what, man, it's worth doing, even if you're a drinker and you enjoy going out and have a cocktail. It's worth going out and checking out some of them kind of sober social events. I guess there's only one sober socials event, but there's other events where people are trying to make sure that they have enough mocktails in the house for people that don't want to drink. We're doing that at the Benson Theater too, man. We got a whole menu that we're building right now of non-alcoholic drinks because it really is a trend right now for people to be able to come out and do that. We had one night where the client decided they didn't want any alcohol. I guess the client and the people who were doing the show were people that were alcoholics and didn't want alcohol anywhere around. We had the ability to close things down so you can't even see the booze in the bar, and then we came out with a menu of mocktails that were pretty extensive, and everybody had a great time. Even people that were coming to order something, it's like, it's non-alcoholic drinks tonight only, and they were like, oh, okay, well, I'll try one, and everybody had a great time anyway. So
yeah, I mean, as long as it tastes good, go down the same.
As long as it tastes good and the vibe is right.
Exactly.
So that's what's up. Appreciate that. Mark Banner says, I have Angelique for the music edition. Okay.
Dope. Looking forward to that one.
Very, very nice. Very nice. Yes, and Miss Erica Phil says another case for legalization in Nebraska. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Slow down the drunk driving and stuff.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's actually been a lot. We've been talking about it. Omaha has been nationally ranked as some of the worst drivers.
The worst drivers in the country.
Yeah. Like the top of the list.
Right.
Tippity top of the list. So yeah, man. Maybe a few less drinks might aid, the slowing those numbers down, man. So
there we go.
I'm all here for it, man.
Me too. Kimara Snipes gives us a good morning, y'all. You guys know that she's going to be on the show later. We're going to be seeing what's good in the hood with Kimara Snipes, and we're going to be politicking with P, Precious McKesson. Put some respect on their names. They're going to join us a little later on in the show, so appreciate you getting up early with us. Get your questions ready for the ladies. Lots going on. Definitely lots going on. I saw your report on Friends of First Sky Omaha, where you were breaking down some of the things that went on in that meeting the Black Votes Matter put on. So that's what's up. I appreciate that report and definitely want to find out what's going on. It looks like a task force is happening, and it's going to launch on the next meeting that's coming up. So we'll dig into that a little bit. Have you talk about that when you come on and see what's going on there, man. We got to rally up,
man. Actually, speaking of rallying up, shout out to all the voters on Lincoln, making some things happen, indeed, man.
Lincoln be doing the thing, man. I don't know.
It always seems, man, Lincoln, a couple steps ahead of Omaha. It's just we got to see what the people are. Got to type in with the people, man. So shout out to all the Lincolnites out there. My guy DJ Sway D out there. Also, I believe Swan Song is that.
Who's that?
I might be missing the name, but one of the chat chimers that's out in Lincoln to help with the Ernest Jackson case.
Okay. Oh, you talking about Mother Nature.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I was way
Yeah,
off. Way
Nature
off. Way
Medicine
off.
Song.
Yeah,
I see what you
yeah.
said, Swan Song. Okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I knew it was something natural, but shout out to
Yeah.
shout out to her and all the Lincolnites out there, man. Definitely getting down. So actually, we kind of talking to Precious about that. I definitely love to hear her take on that
That
situation.
Democratic win that just happened.
Yeah,
with
man.
the mayor's race there.
Actually, I believe 7 out of 10 seats that were up we're taking, man. So yeah,
Wow.
some big wins, big wins. We'll talk about that. Also, other things to get into today. We will be talking about the OPS board. We've been looking at what's going on with this search for a new superintendent, and with all of the just craziness that has been happening around education around the country. We definitely want to keep a close eye on what's going on with our next superintendent and exactly who they choose to kind of lead the biggest district in the state. What were you saying?
I was just saying, or if they can get to choosing.
Yeah, that part. So yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. I also want to dive into more prison reform. Again, we talked to the senators on Friday about what's going on. Again, not just one, but 2 new prisons already been planned. Money's already set aside, yet no prison reform being laid down. And now we're hearing exactly what's going on, especially for our inmates dealing with mental disabilities and just mental issues. We'll definitely talk about some of the treatment that they've been receiving. So we'll definitely look into that. And then, of course, Tiff, something that we haven't quite talked about as of recent here on the show, but we're definitely continuing to pay attention to that. Actually, some proposals to hopefully change how Tiff is being used, being laid out. So we'll definitely talk about that and more. Of course, we're here for the next 2 hours. As always, if there's anything on your hearts and minds, feel free to, let us know. Jump into the chat, chime in, and let your mind be free. More importantly, let your voice be heard. And we'll try to get into it.
Man, before we get off of talking about Lincoln there, I got to give my man Sleep Sinatra some props.
Hey,
That cat dropped the track yesterday or day before. I think it was yesterday. And I was like, man, dude,
yo,
this dope. He got the beats, he got the rhyme, he got the rhyme scheme. He's dope, man. He's
yeah.
consistently good.
I done hopped on a couple tracks with my man. Definitely. Then we done a few shows together. Definitely shout out to my guy Sleep Sinatra. I gotta reach out to bro, man. He's a Lincoln gem, man. He's a Lincoln gem, especially if you're into that real raw hip hop, boom bap, head knocking. Yeah. Check him out.
Yeah, man. I'm constantly impressed. I always open something up like, yeah, I don't know. He doesn't even seem like it's he seems like he's already made it. He seems, what I'm saying, he's got that sound that's like you can see him opening for J. Cole or something like that. He's already there. So it makes me want to look into like how many albums and stuff he's put out, what he's done, where he's signed at. He's super prolific artist for real. Big time. So shout out to Sleep Sinatra out of Lincoln, Nebraska. Man.
But if I'm not mistaken, actually, Mark, let us know. Doesn't he have some vinyl, or doesn't he have a few joints at Homer's? Yeah, that's one thing. He's one of the artists that I always paid attention to on how he does his releases.
The business side.
Man, yeah. I mean, he's always dropping like limited edition vinyls and cassette tapes and. Okay. Yeah. He does that. That, man. Yeah, real artistic. Big shout out to my guy Sleep Sinatra, man. I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah.
Shout out, man. Shout out to all of you guys who's getting up early this morning with us and jumping into the chat. We got William King in the house.
Man,
going on 95.7 The Boss, bro. 95.7 The Boss. Check him out, man. Definitely check out the station. And he says, send to William at 957theboss.com. Any kind of whatever it is, man. He's talking about that music.
Yeah, I know.
You talking about that? You talking about breaking local music and stuff like that? He'll do that over there at the Boss for sure. So, yeah, if you're listening, if anybody get the message out, as a matter of fact, I hit him up myself because I hit him up yesterday about that track. But Sleep Sinatra needs to get some tracks down here on 95.7 The Boss for sure. and on First Sky Omaha Radio over here on the digital channel. You can hit that by going to firstsky.omaha.com. Hit the listen button. Shout out to Beth and everybody who's checking out the tracks this morning. 24/7 channel of celebration of black music going on over there in a big way. And of course, we do have boost local music as well. So
yeah, actually, it's funny, man. Again, I'm tapped in with DJs down here, but also DJs really across the country. A shout out to the whole Coalition DJs family. And we have constant conversations about that. And one thing that is interesting is around the country, really, in markets, there's not a lot of local artists that are being pubbed up. It's a lot of people, with the bag, man. But as far as the local talent and real homegrown organic talent, there's not a lot being bigged up, man. So let's this is a call out to the community, man. Definitely, I know some people who have our family members, children of theirs that are artists in the community. Let's support. There's definitely a lot of talent. Actually, big shout out to Wakanda One, my man Shamari. Yeah, they were actually out there in Jamaica making some moves, man. And a big shout out to the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation. They were representing out there as well. So man, let's support. Actually, Mark Manor in the chat says we have a lot of local hip hop, but not him. Oh yeah,
right. We got to get him in there.
Yeah.
Before we do that, we're gonna get started on the show. Thanks for joining us. Welcome. Fresh edition, First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. All Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Let's go. Let's get it going. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. Thanks for joining us on this, what is this, Wednesday, May the 3rd already. Is it the 3rd?
Yeah, already.
Wow, okay.
Already. I have to pronounce it like Wednesday to make sure I spell it right.
Yeah, I do that too. Wednesday. And of course, every Wednesday, you know that we are expecting the ladies. Precious McKesson will be politicking with P. And also Kimara Snipes will be seeing what's good in the hood. So we look forward to talking to them later on in the show. So stay tuned for that. Also, if you're on Facebook and YouTube, I haven't seen any Facebook. Oh, there is a Facebook. Okay, Brother King is on Facebook. I was like, where are the Facebook people out?
Yeah, they coming.
Mama Guy's on Facebook too. Okay, cool. Just making sure that Facebook's working. If you're on Facebook and YouTube, do us a favor, share the show. Share the show so that we can get as many people in the conversation as possible. Really appreciate that. Brooke Allen gives us a good morning. She says, good morning. Zane says, loves you, Uncle Paul, and Grandpa sings. What's going on, brother? Good morning to you. Love you too, Zane. Thanks for getting up early with us.
The dude.
So, we got a few things we're going to get into before we speak to the guests that are coming on very soon. And we already kind of talked a little bit about some of the things we're going to talk about. Some, good news today a little bit, and some hard stuff to look at. Kind of a little bit of variety of news that's happening here. And also shout out to everybody who's been putting stuff in Friends of First Sky Omaha. Shout out to Brianna Full, who's been giving us information about the school board situation.
Man.
And shout out to Marianne Williams in particular, too, who always keeps us up on the legislature. Shout out to you chat chimers. There's some regular chat chiming that's going on here that's really helping us out. That is reminding us about what it is going on in our neighborhoods that we're interested in knowing about and hearing about as well. And people are paying attention to that. So shout out to all of you that have been participating in Friends of First Sky Omaha group, providing some information and some history and some backstory and some research. You guys are like our research team and co-hosts.
Yeah.
So appreciate that very much. In the meantime, between time, buddy, what's first on the roster?
Man, well, we'll kick off things. I'm thinking we should go ahead and follow some money, man. Looking at Tiff and the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been poured into countless amounts of Tiff's projects over the last few years. And of course, we all know it's very, very interesting just how they use TIF. Again, if you're not familiar, TIF stands for tax increment financing, and it's been a way that a lot of development projects have been done. But the caveat is these developmental projects have to have be done or be planned to uh, be done in an area that is considered blighted. And that whole blight designation has been very curious on how they again define it, how they use it, where they apply it. Never really seems to be in the actually obviously blighted areas. Of course, we know that the Crossroads area or actually the former Crossroads Mall has been cleared for to use some TIF. Several projects, the downtown area, the Blackstone area, I believe the historic Blackstone Hotel
Mm.
has been used some TIF dollars, and again we have areas that have historically been, as our friends at the Reader call it, disinvested, and we don't really see much TIF directed that way. So very,
Right.
very interesting in how this is used. Actually, in 2022, Omaha had a record-breaking year in TIF, according to the Omaha World Herald, to the tune of $159 million used in TIF loans. Yeah, quite a bunch of money. Actually, a $600 million downtown skyscraper, $220 million casino, several large mixed-use developments. Also, massive projects made 2022. Again, a record breaking year for tax increment financing. And that's all on the back or across the desk of Omaha City Council. The amount far exceeds recent years' total. Actually, the $159 million was total from 23 redevelopment agreements approved by the council. The count does not include redevelopmental plans approved by the city council, a step that happens before an agreement is considered. So there's even more projects on the table, actually used in Omaha since 1980. TIF is a financing tool, again, regularly sought in local developmental efforts. Proponents of the economic incentive champion it as a tool to encourage private investment in areas in need of housing and revitalization. But of course, as I've seen, a lot of the areas already have a huge investment. Of course, the Blackstone district recently had its face completely revamped, new banks, new storefronts, all in that area. And then again, we have now a whole new shiny hotel. Of course, downtown just revamped the whole Gene Leahy Mall, and now we have this shining building that's coming for Mutual of Omaha. So, and of course, a lot of other projects. So yeah, very interesting how that's being used.
Um, yeah, man, that's to say the least. I mean, we've been following that whole TIFF story, and shout out to Chris Bowling who did a whole TIFF map and everything. We call it
Yeah.
TIFF Alley. We've been calling it TIFF Alley for a while. Lots of money going into TIFF that's supposed to be for blighted areas. I'm not hearing about a whole lot of that money that went to any North Omaha projects.
Nope. Again, 23 projects in total. And most of them are right smack dab down the center of the city, going from the river all the way out west. Again, we talk about downtown Blackstone. Then you go a little farther up Farnham and Dodge. Then you're in the, Crossroads area.
That's crazy. And really the only, if you really want to talk about blighted areas, how do you leave North Omaha out of that conversation?
I mean, you tell me. South Omaha as well.
Yeah. And seems like the only person trying to do anything about it is Brother Terrell McKinney. Brother Senator Terrell McKinney, put some respect on his name.
Man, definitely puts her lots just piled the respect on his name, man, because his brother is down here doing the work in the face of some great opposition. And yeah, he is definitely calling for some change to exactly this term that, again, has been in the center of this whole conversation and blighted. Actually, there's a measure that would allow Nebraska cities to remove a blighted designation, thereby ending an area's eligibility for future tax increment financing. That's coming from the Urban Affairs Committee, who in executive session voted to forward legislative bill 532 for debate to the full legislature. Of course, this bill was introduced by Senator Terrell McKinney, and the measure pertains to the community development law again, that governs tax increment financing. So this is something that's hopefully going to change at the state level. I do believe Senator Wayne is also reached out to the city council, because again, the Omaha City Council at the city level, they are the ones who are actually passing and agreeing to these TIF projects, and I do believe Senator Wayne has reached out to them to kind of address how they, again, as an individual body, are using the term blighted. But hopefully, again, something being addressed at the state level, like with LB 532, can also help change some of that.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk to them on Friday. Talk to him. I'd like to talk to him about this particular bill, because he's talking about removing that term blighted,
Right.
which would make it so that some of these areas that we're talking about, like in Tiff Alley, they would not be qualify for the TIF funding if they by claiming that they're a blighted area is what I'm thinking this change is for. Which means that if that's the case, then he's probably getting mad opposition from everybody.
Oh yeah.
On that part, because they certainly, as you can see, have been taking real advantage of that area, of that designation, so that they can get that TIF refund. I mean, the TIF. What is it?
Well,
Determined actually.
it kind of is. It's more like a tax haven. For instance, it kind of just holds off. This is how it works. Generally, this is according to the article. Generally, the developer takes out a loan that's then paid back over 15 to 20 years by using the increased property taxes generated on the new development. So again, this is all centering on whether or not the developer pays the property taxes on the new development.
Right.
Normally, property tax revenue goes to support schools and other local tax reliant bodies. Again, we've talked about churches, schools, and just how some of the tax havens in the community affect poverty. And talking about OPS, being one of the largest in some of the areas like North Omaha, who don't have a lot of homeowners, therefore a lot of property taxes aren't going to the schools. During the loan period, the property owner continues to pay a portion of property taxes to local governments based on the valuation. And then after the TIF loan is repaid, property taxes collected on what then should be a higher value improved property starts flowing to those local governments. So again, ideally it's supposed to increase the property tax, but there's still a 15 to 20-year period where those property taxes aren't being paid. Therefore, they're not going to the schools and other things. So,
and again, that TIF is there so that blighted areas can turn into housing and all kinds of other. It's meant to be to economically boost an area through development, through housing, and so on and so forth. All we keep seeing is big buildings, massive buildings being built for massive corporations up and down Tiff Alley. It's unnerving, and we got to remind ourselves what it is all the time. We got to always kind of come back and revisit this, because we need to be in there talking about it. Like Tony Johnson 12 is saying in the chat, he says, because North Omaha does not have conversations about this. Low turnout at council meetings.
Yeah.
Vaughn Chapman gives us a good morning on Facebook. He says, good morning. It's quite obvious that North Omaha is being discriminated against when it comes to TIF. Also, Tony Johnson says, North Omaha has defunct economic development field office. Nothing done or see since office created.
That's interesting. I have to look into that. Economic Development Field Office. Okay, that's interesting.
First I heard of it, bro.
Yeah. And effectively, what's going to happen within the next 15 and 20 years is when all of the TIF, all of these TIF agreements kind of come back, and then the property taxes begin to be paid on what's now a $600 million skyscraper
For Mutual Omaha.
Right. Those property taxes will then go to like Central. Central might benefit because, again, it's in that general area. Creighton might benefit, although I think Creighton is a private school, so I'm not quite sure how, the property taxes affect that. But again, just I think West Side might, just schools that are close to these areas. But Omaha North, Benson, Northwest, Bryan, South High, these schools won't benefit because again, none of the TIF projects are anywhere close to these areas. That's really the issue.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, it sounds to me like because they are the way the TIF is set up, those even those schools in those areas are going to suffer for at least for 10, 15 years, and then so it's kind of all the way around. Like I think part of the problem here it could be the system that's set up to where property taxes are taking care of school budgets. Which means that if you have the property taxes in a lower income area means that you got less money going to the schools. Maybe if that system wasn't in place, then TIF wouldn't affect all this so much. But it seems like it's going to affect everything all the way around. Plus, the biggest thing to me is if this thing is put in place for areas like we have in North Omaha that need building up, and housing that needs to be built, and businesses that need help starting that are not Cottonwood Hotel and Mutual of Omaha. That these dollars could go to that, but for us to look back and see there's only one or two places where TIF dollars were used in North Omaha with all those millions of dollars that happened last a record breaking year of hundreds of millions of dollars that went to TIF, and we see no change in North O.
Yeah,
We see very, very little change in North O. It's kind of crazy. Tony Johnson 12 was talking about created 3 years ago, have not seen or heard from brother running office. They're talking about that economic development field office. Don't know who's. This is the first time. No, I don't think this is the first I heard of it.
I do feel like there has been mention, but it's always just that. There's no real conversation or no real report or any spotlight about what is being done. Like to your point, brother Tony Johnson. But yeah, I think I have heard it mentioned, but yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
And
Who
brother
are
Chapman,
they and what are they doing?
and brother Chapman, I think brother Goins was heading up the
Department of Economic Development. So
right.
this might have been a field office under his department, but I don't know if that's something he had direct control of.
Kind of something that it seems important. I'm sitting here shaking my head like it seems important that we would know and be in contact with that office as much as we talk about TIF Alley and economic development North Omaha. And, it just is interesting. Von Chapman says economic development won't happen in North Omaha without TIF. The city of Omaha is well aware of the disinvestment. Also, Brother Johnson says, but Tony Goins and Lavanya Goodwin loved photo op with the mayor on this. Okay. Lavanya Goodwin is the person that is running the BID, the BID of North 24th Street area. We always see her in the meetings and going after grants and stuff like that for beautification of the area. I think she's also part of the NOMA situation over there as well. So there's some people going. Oh, it's Carmen Tapio also. Yeah, she's North Teleservices.
Yep, and also Chamber of Commerce.
And Chamber of Commerce. Got it. Okay. Yeah. So under the control of Tony Goins. Yes. So the brother who stepped down from the department from the DED was in control of those offices. So yeah, we need to know more. Need to learn more about those offices and know more and talk to some folks and ask some questions and see what's going on. But most importantly, be in the room when we're talking about the benefits that we could be using for building up North Omaha. Like Brother Von Chapman is saying, it's not going to happen without TIF. There's still TIF dollars out there.
Yeah. Again, there's several projects that have already been approved by city council, but still not agreed to as far as the details of the TIF agreement, as far as, amounts and things like that. So there's still a lot of projects that's supposed to come out. Also, Senator McKinney is going for some funds to be directed to North Omaha. I think Senator Wayne has actually talked about this. McKinney said that the measure that moved forward on Tuesday did not include a proposed amendment that called for the state to allocate $100 million to the Omaha streetcar project under the condition that city develop a line extending into North Omaha. So again, trying to extend that streetcar into North Omaha to make sure that wherever the streetcar goes, that the residents of North Omaha can also access those areas. Again, that was not included, but that is something that it does look like Senator McKinney and Wayne will be pushing for. Again, $100 million to the Omaha Streetcar Project under the condition that city develop a North Omaha line. And then also a LB 532, which is the bill that will change TIF and how it's being used. Again, the specific change is that this will allow for a substandard and blighted designation to be reviewed and removed by the city's governing body. So again, if you looking for that TIF support, TIF financing, that TIF loan, then again there is a designated blight or a blight designation that you have to meet, and apparently under LB 532 to be reviewed and removed by the city's governing body.
I got questions about that. I can't wait to talk to Brother McKinney on Friday. Removing that blighted designation will it I think the goal here is to make it so that big corporations like that can't lean on the blighted designation to do stuff in certain areas. But what will they be leaning on? What is the designation? What would be the requirements to be able to be qualified for the TIF funds? You know what I'm saying? Those are the kind of questions I have for Brother McKinney. If you guys have any more questions as well, definitely check in with us on Friday when we're going to speak to Brother McKinney and Brother Wayne. And just one more word about that the streetcar situation. We've been getting reports that a lot of people don't want this streetcar. There, and even talking to Brother Wayne just to remind everybody, when we talked to him about it, he was not really for the streetcar either.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, he's in there working with the senators though, and a lot of senators want this thing. So he said, okay, well, if y'all want it that bad, then it's at least going to have to extend into North Omaha. So if you want my vote for it, then this is what we propose happens. It goes, the streetcar reaches North Omaha so we can get on it and go out to where it needs to go to.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. And again, that was not in the measure that moved forward on Tuesday.
It was not in that measure moved forward on Tuesday. Okay. So we'll have to check back in on that. Also, some other news on that too. I heard that somebody's trying to get it to extend out south as well. Now,
I mean, makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah. More on that. Thanks for everybody's input on that. This is definitely something that we have to revisit from time to time. Tiff is a little bit of a complicated situation, and we have to try to figure out, find out the information and the nuance and everything that we need to know about the reasons why certain things are happening in the city, certain money gets spent, and why things still look the same in North Omaha when there's all these initiatives out there that's supposed to be helping out areas like ours, seem to be helping out other parts of Nebraska that didn't really seem like they needed the help.
Man.
So it is what it is. 7:47 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, thanks for joining us. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the DS.
And we have our special guest sitting in the wings right now. We're going to bring her in so she don't have to sit here and wait too much longer with her new fresh hairdo, ladies and gentlemen, Precious McKesson. Let's see. There you go. Bring you in there. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. I don't want to stay on long, y'all. I'm so tired. We had a long night in Lincoln, so I am like literally like.
Okay, she tired, boss. She tired.
Bro. Look like you're in the hotel too. You in the hotel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We appreciate you on the road getting on with us for a minute. We appreciate that very much.
Yeah. So we got some good news. What was going on? Why was the night so long in Lincoln? Let us know.
I mean, we blew them out of the water. Out of the 10 races in the election, we collected a win off of 7 of them, 7 of the 10. And so Geist, it shows that, all the money that the Pede family and the Ricketts family invested, over about $2 million. It just shows that grassroots efforts really worked. And no matter how much money you throw in, people are going to vote the way they want to vote according to the issues that are impacting them. So it was a great night. It was a great night to reelect Mayor Larry and Geary Baird here in Lincoln.
That's what's up. Congratulations.
Yeah. What were the other seats again? You said 7 out of 10. What were some of the other seats?
We had mayor, we had city council, Lincoln Airport Authority, and school board. So the ones that we won the mayoral, we won 3 of the city council, and then I'm trying to think. I'm like trying to count. I think it was 4 city council, and then school board. We just didn't get two. We didn't get our two Lincoln Airport authorities, but we were able to secure the seats for city council, except for one of the city council seats, and then the school board as well as the mayoral race.
Seems like there's a different vibe going on in Lincoln. We all every time we start talking about Lincoln is doing something that's like way ahead of what Omaha's doing. What do you think it is about going on in Lincoln that's the vibe?
I mean, Lincoln is really moving into a progressive, progressive city. One thing I will say that with the state party and the county party and the candidates, we did a very well coordinated campaign with everyone. So we all worked together as a team. It was really refreshing. It was a really good, you know, a show of unity. Even last night, all the parties were in one place. We had one big party in one huge place, with the candidates, with the with everybody, and it was just really good. It was really good, and the growth that they're doing here in Lincoln, it just shows. They ran very negative campaigns from the other side. They tried to make it seem like Lincoln was not a safe place, and that it was just it was horrible, the ads they were running, and people saw through that. And so really I'm excited. I'm just wondering now, what's Geist going to do now, because they had her quit her job. And I'm gonna tell y'all, I have my feelings, and I put it on my Twitter, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I kind of did see the tweets going on about the airport situation, and them, telling them mark yourself safe because you got smoked.
And I'm address this because I'm address it because as a Black woman, I get so tired of being attacked by Black men. And there's a gentleman on here who continues every time I turn around. It's like, you attack me, and he's on here. His name is Tony Johnson. So call him out. And he always has something to say, but it's like, sir, if you're following me on Twitter, at least say hi. If you're gonna tag my post and post it somewhere or screenshot it, at least say hello. Because let me tell you something, it takes a lot of work to do the job that I do. And if you're not, and if anybody can be a critic, but until you walk a day in my shoes, you really don't know what I do and what I do to really do the work that I do in this arena. And so again, for a Black man to take his time, number one, you're a fan. I'm just going to say it, you're a fan. And if you can take your time at 11 after 10 o'clock at night to screenshot and post, then I'm gonna need you to take some time and maybe make some calls, and maybe we can have some more big wins throughout the state. So that's why I'm gonna leave it like that. And next time you screenshot it, make sure you just at least say hi. But it is what it is.
Well, so Tony Johnson 12, I guess is who you're talking about. That's a person that's in the chat and has been chat chiming with us here for a little bit. So I'll put it out there too. I didn't know that there was kind of that thing going on. Let's just remember that we all on the same team and try to deal with each other with respect. I'll just put that reminder out there.
Right. And we can, and it's like, my thing is like, it's always saying, oh, well, this is not going to get the Democrats to come back. First of all, we won 7 out of 10 races last night. If I decide to get on and at Pete Ricketts or at anybody, that's my prerogative because we won. It doesn't mean that you have to come on and say that's not how we get back. Baby, that's how we get back. Maybe you should go and take some notes on what we did so that we can continue these winning streaks. It's been a long week.
Right, and we all want the winning streaks is what I think we getting at too. So
yeah, I was actually going to ask that. Brother Von Chapman in the chat says, could the blue dot be now in Lincoln? And big shout out to our partners over at Nebraska Examiner, who actually covered the story on Mayor Baird's victory and called it basically a blue island in a sea of red. And I wanted to ask you about that very thing, about what does yesterday mean for what exactly where Democrats stand in Lincoln, especially in the face of what we talked about on Monday. We talked about how much does the money really mean when we talk about elections. It often seems like if you got the bag, then it's a foregone conclusion. But we see the P family dropping 1.6 million, almost 2/3 of the donation for Geist's, and it didn't mean anything. She still lost. So again, where does Democrats stand in Lincoln, and what is the Pede family? What is that? What is your whole take on that?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't research the P family.
Mm,
I don't even know who they look like, honestly.
mm,
I just do the work, and the work is talking to the issues that are impacting the people and where we're running the election at, and staying positive. You know, you can't use fear tactics. That's what they use. They use fear tactics. If you see any mailings, it was negative the whole entire campaign. But I think here in Lincoln, people realize what they have here. They see the growth. They've seen what what the community means to them. They're very inclusive. And I do feel like they are more blue. They are more blue. They're leaning that way. Um, I see a lot changing here. I mean, just overall. I mean, they control their city council. They control the Democrats control the city council. They control the commissioner board. They're very much so really progressive here. And so I think what at the end of the day, it comes to talking to the voters and the issues that are impacting those voters and resonating with those voters and actually getting voters out. I think our goal was, I think we were looking at what did we say? I think last night, I mean, we had so many emails going. I think it was like I'm trying to think what we had said, a 40% turnout rate.
Hmm.
And I think that was what our goal was. And yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
mm.
I always think that because they're all close to the capital out there, maybe they're more active or something like that.
Well,
I'm not. Mhm.
yeah, and they are more engaged because I mean, number one, this is where a lot of the work happens. You know, when it comes to the state. I mean, you see a very heavy presence of Lincolnites, that's what they call themselves here in
Mm-hmm.
in the legislature. So they're very much so, really much so, very much so engrossed into this. And so yeah,
I was actually gonna ask about that as well because Tony Johnson did respond. He says if there were more things for North Omaha by Democrats, you would see more people like me. And you did kind of mention as far as
but
the candidates engaging. Is it a candidates like what's the difference between Lincoln and Omaha? Is it the location as you mentioned? What is the difference?
no, I think it's the lack of support from people. But I just want to remind, I am not the executive director of the Nebraska Democratic Party of North Omaha. I am the executive director of the Nebraska Democratic of the whole entire state.
Mm-hmm.
So every time someone says North Omaha, you do have a Douglas County Democratic Party. You have a county party. Start there with your county party. Your county party, just like they have the Lancaster Democrats,
Mhm.
you have a county party that basically has the same who sits underneath the state party. It's not my responsibility to police to well, I should say to do the work of only Omaha. I do the
Mhm.
entire state, but we have a Douglas County party. And I just don't focus on just North Omaha. That's not just my job to focus on North Omaha at all.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
You
also,
know?
it sounds like it's more of a candidate thing that I'm hearing. Like,
Yeah.
is it the look? It seems like the elected officials and the candidates in Lincoln are just more engaged and more active with the community than possibly those in North Omaha. Could that be an issue?
I mean, they're very active. They're very seen. They work. They work. They work hard. Not to take away from our candidates, because our candidates do too. But I also see the money that comes into those candidates. I
Mm,
see how people invest into those candidates, and we don't get that same investment. I think for some of our candidates because we have. This is just again, this is my personal opinion from the inside looking at it. When you have black and brown candidates running, you have white donors who only donate to oh hold on just a second, my phone was, I'm sorry, you have donors who, and I've always said this, and I say this with all respect. It's cool to say Black Lives Matter, we believe and we want diversity and we believe that we should have black people elected, but when it comes down to it, those same people who say that, when we put our name on the ballots, they go to the white candidate and they donate to the white candidate.
mm,
It's just obvious. It's
Mhm.
hard. And the thing is that we're not going to, me as a black woman, and I think, and I say this, and I can't speak for anybody else, I'm not going to go and say, oh, please help me, please help me. You show who you are the first time.
Mhm.
And then you have a history of you just have a history of gatekeeping.
Mhm.
mm.
You have a history of it. And I remember, like, 'cause I've said this story before. I remember back in when I was younger, not even younger, maybe getting into this work. And I remember an elder saying that they did a horrible job. This is an elder within the political arena, and she said that they did a horrible job of um of setting a legacy for us,
Mm.
because when instead of them taking us by the hand and saying these are the ropes that you do in building a legacy, they turned around and they gatekeep themselves also. And I think that's
Mm.
what we have a problem at, is
Wow.
that even people in our own community have gatekeeped, and now it's harder for us to really try to push to be able to get elected in certain seats. And so we have a lot of work, but I do feel that we have some great candidates. But again, as much people that put so much negative energy saying that we don't have, I need the people to go ahead and and actually volunteer and be able to assist those candidates who are running and support those candidates that are running, instead of the more negative that you put out there, the less that you're doing to help a black candidate win a race.
Mm. I do want to speak a little bit on Tony Johnson 12 says asking about the lack of active black caucus and involvement of party in North Omaha is not an attack. The black caucus in particular I've actually had some personal experience with that. It has been kind of off and on throughout the years. For I don't know. I think whoever's leading it at the time seems to be the person seems to set the precedent on whether or not there's going to be a lot of involvement or not. I definitely think we need a stronger black caucus in Omaha, just in general. So I mean, we're sitting here trying to figure out what the solutions are to bring Omaha more engaged in the way that like Lincolnites are. Um,
Yes.
and that's kind of the goal. Chrissy North says, I beg folks to help with Alicia Shelton's campaign. Just saying. We were very, very heavy in trying to and having Alicia Shelton on several times and pushing it. I remember that. I remember some of the lack of support that she was getting and so on.
Yeah.
Marianne Williams says Lincoln citizens are extremely engaged too, maybe because the legislature is here and breeds activism, maybe because the Capitol is where most protests and marches start and end. Not sure, but Lincoln is engaged. And yes, again, we're having this discussion now, talking about how we can get Omaha is just as engaged. Wanda Lewis in the chat says, "What's the contact info for the Douglas County Democratic Party?"
Mm.
Yeah,
I mean, it's where everybody's on Facebook. Just look up W
we got to
Democratic
look that
Party.
up.
It's
There
right
you go.
there. It's right there.
Tony Johnson says
That's right
people would support more if candidates were more active in North Omaha than just fundraising email. We've been on that side of it too, where we get guests on and we get calls to come on the show when there is a race, and then we get calls shunned when the race is over, or whatever. So we don't get as many callbacks when that happens. I definitely can see that there's room for way more engagement in North Omaha with the candidates and just in general. So
But we want more than
right,
candidates. We want elected
right,
officials. That's the
right.
thing. Anybody can be a candidate. We need to get them across the finish line to be winners. So you're not going to see that candidate after if they've lost a race. You're not going to see them engaging because they're not an elected official now. We need to be able to get them across the finish line as a candidate to an elected official, to where then we are really making change. We can have a slew of candidates. We want elected officials.
Right.
We want them to be elected.
And that requires the people
Money.
to vote in the
And I just want to say this. Tony Johnson is really, he keeps saying it's not an attack. Sir, it's an attack when you screenshot my post and you post it. It's right now sitting on the Friends of First Sky Omaha. Y'all have to look at it. It's sitting right there. I saw it at 11 o'clock last night. So, sir, it is a personal attack because you're personally putting me on your status and making a comment. So, sir, it is an attack. It is. But again, I just want to know what your name is on Twitter, because let me tell you something. I don't have the capacity to fight with a black man. I'm not going to. I'm not. I'm not. And if you have that much energy, I've already looked up. You don't donate to the party. I've already looked you up, bruh. Like, come on, let's keep it 100. Let's keep it a buck. Tell me the last time you donated to a candidate or you made a call. But again, look at the status. Every time you do it, you say it's not an attack. It is an attack, and that's why I'm addressing it, because you actually screenshotted my actual post, my Twitter comment onto a post, and you put it under First Sky. I don't have time for it. So it is an attack. That's the only reason I'm addressing it. If it was just a random comment about Democrats, I wouldn't address it. But you put me in it, and you had my post with my name attached to it. That's why I'm addressing it.
And that's why we're here, so we can speak face to face just like that. So if you guys can continue that conversation, it would be a good idea.
I don't want to have a conversation with him because he's rude and disrespectful.
Okay.
And as a black man, he should be ashamed of himself.
Okay. Well, again, I just want to stress that we are on the same side. So if we can try to find some areas of respect and be able to have some conversation, that would be better. But if there's not that can't happen, then it can't happen. So we'll just we'll have to leave it where it is. And like I said, we're here to provide that kind of catalyst, to be the space where those conversations can be had if they want to be had. So we'll leave it at that. I know you're trying to get out of here a little earlier than usual. So before we let you go, we want to definitely end on a good note. This note that you are the fact that we've had all these wins yesterday. You guys obviously partied enough to say we're gonna have to get a room and just go ahead and drive tomorrow. So I ain't not putting you on blast on that, but I know you guys partied last night a little bit, right?
No. We got the final results at 10. Oh, yeah. So then after all the speeches, right. I think I was back to my room by 11:30, 11:45. No partying, because I mean, again, we now go into we have work. We still have a lot of work to do. So now we go into the 2024 election, and we go into the delegate selection plan to start to get ready for the national convention as well as our state convention. So we have a lot of work to still do, and we have a lot of work still going in the legislature. And we have some big wins of what happened, especially what happened in the legislature with blocking the ban on abortion. We still got some stuff that we still got to watch, because again, remember, even though we block this ban, they can still there's bills that people can still slide into little packages. So you still got to continue to watch the legislature. Legislature's not over. I think we have another couple of weeks. I think it's like the first week of June, end of May. So so we still got a lot of work to do, and we're going to continue to do that work. And start to, vetting a lot of the candidates, vetting the people who have interest in running, and also working with outside groups on candidate recruitment. And I can say I'm appreciative of a few people, I'm not going to say who they are, who has provided a list and who is really looking in the Black community of people that we should be approaching to run for office, and vetting those people. And people are so that's the thing. People are very invested into knowing what's going to go in 24 and in 25, because remember, we have 5 federal seats open in 24, as well as a slew of legislative seats. And then in 2025, we roll around for our city elections, and we have a lot. I mean, and even though we've had some negativity that's happened in the last week, I still say we continue to keep our head up, and we keep on working, and we do the work of the people and represent the people of the Democratic Party. And we make sure that, we just make sure that we are being good stewards of our work. And sometimes, again, I want to apologize for addressing that, but it was very frustrating to see, because again, I believe they always say protect our Black women, but when, it's sometimes as a Black woman, I have to protect myself, and especially in this work, and I will continue to do that. So I apologize if I offended anybody.
Yeah, no reason to apologize. No reason to apologize at all. This place is here for us to have real talk, real time, face to face. So appreciate you.
And I mean, I just feel like for the last 5 years, I've encountered a lot, and I've suppressed a lot, and I'm no longer. I said this the other day. I have no more to give. I have no more olive branches to extend. I have nothing, because I think I've done a lot of extending and apologizing and trying to make things right. And at this point, either you're going to join the team or get on board, or we're going to come to a common, or we're just not going to be able to coexist together at all.
Well,
with respect.
With respect. 2024 is upon us. in a big way. So we appreciate that you recognize that you guys just gonna get up in the morning and just go ahead and get to work, because the work is very much needed. You're very much appreciated. You can see everybody in the chat. Marianne Williams, thanks for all you do. Mark Manor, thank you, Precious. Miss Erica Felt, Precious, you are appreciated. Wanda Lewis, thank you, Precious, for putting in the work. So Pop says thank you for all the hard work you put in, Precious. You are an inspiration and an excellent role model. Appreciate you. Josh Tasis, you're an inspiration. So showing you some love, and again, congratulations for all the hard work that you guys did for winning yesterday.
Thank you. And last night I did have to laugh and say, yeah, Lincoln is taking the blue. They may be the new blue dot. So
we have 2 blue dots. How about we have 2 blue dots?
There you go.
We can have 2, but theirs is more. There's a city elections, and ours is on the federal level. So maybe we can capitalize on that in 24 and really bring some blue dots, because remember, we do have the presidential as well as the congressional races for CD1 and CD2 all in that area. So maybe we'll be able to say at this time we got that big blue dot.
There you go. There you go.
But make sure y'all check on Pete. Make sure he mark him safe.
Right on. There you go. Thank you. Drive back safe, please.
Have a good one, y'all.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Precious McKesson, put some respect on her name. Thank you very much for joining us, and all your questions and comments and everything that went down there. Appreciate that very much. We're going to take a quick break and come back in, and we have Miss Kimara Snipes waiting in the wings, seeing what's good in the hood with Kimara Snipes. Put some respect on her name. We'll be right back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, and special guests. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, ghost listeners, chat chimers, radio listeners, and without further ado, Miss Kimara Snipes.
Hey. Good morning. I just seen the Mark Pete safe, and I was just cracking up. Sorry.
Mark Pete safe.
Well, first of all, before we get into that, how you doing?
I'm doing, pretty good. There's a lot going on, a lot of which I can't talk about yet. But,
okay. Well, hold the beans.
There's a lot going on. All I can say is that God is good in my life, and I am truly blessed and highly favored, and I'm just grateful for that. So,
that's what's up.
Man, that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm happy for you. So. Definitely happy for those out in Lincoln. I know you kind of would start with the Mark Pete safe. I know you've been out in Lincoln doing some organizing, trying to get some things going ahead of these elections.
Yes.
I know your organizing is more non-partisan in nature. Just what is your take on what happened in Lincoln yesterday or last night?
I think that it's interesting. I was just listening to some of the conversation, and I was thinking about what the question you were asking about, kind of what's the difference. And I I was thinking that it probably is, in my opinion, maybe candidates, right? I was talking to the Lincoln City Councilman, Brody Weber, and he was telling me how, or telling everyone who was there actually that he has these monthly town halls. And I was like, see, like that's what our city council people should be doing. Like, because when you engage with people, that's how you build trust with people, which is really like a part of organizing. And him holding town halls is actually a tool of organizing, right? So he's actually taking away some of the work that organizers have to do by even doing that. But he's also connecting with people and building trust with people, which is really what Sona did for me by having our elected officials who would show up to the meetings, and our city council person, as of recent, one of them just hasn't shown up for quite a while. The other one has never been there to be at all, actually, now that I think about it. But I think that's really important. And I was thinking back to when I was chair of the Black Caucus, and I went and set up meetings with all of our Black elected officials, and that connection with the Democratic Party for them just was not there. And so their interest in participating really wasn't there. And I get it, what I'm saying? Because I've been Black and a candidate in Nebraska for a long time, right? So I get it, but I also value that engagement piece a lot higher, and the platform that comes with it too. But I think it's the candidate piece. But overall, I think Lincoln is a blue city. I think last time I was on here, I talked about some of that information I learned just about the demographics of the mayor's cabinet and different things like that. And it's not just a look thing, it's an action thing, right? It's they're actually, carrying out these different things and creating policy behind it and putting it to action. And I see our mayor, she makes some hires, what I'm saying? But if you got your thumb on everybody's neck and they can't really do nothing, then what's the point, right? So I just don't see the action that I would like to see. And case in point is, I put it on Facebook the other day. They're getting ready for these summer job hirings. And last summer, I had to email Key Station, what's up, bro? Y'all having a job fair for teens, and y'all having it at the police training center way out where there's not even a bus stop. How do you do that? And so I think it's candidates and their actions and how they connect with community. And I think that Lincoln candidates may just do a better job of it. And I said it, and it is what it is.
Yeah. So it's important that I'm glad that we're on this same line of questioning here that we had with Precious, because it's really a question. If you see it came on our radar, it came on my radar at least, when we reported about the University of Omaha Lincoln, that we're putting some things in place that were really progressive. The CRT conversation back in the day,
right.
and Pete Ricketts and them chimed up really hard against them, and I thought, wow, this is really interesting that Lincoln. And then ever since then, every time we're reporting something about Lincoln, you can definitely see that there's a big progressive difference. And we're always looking to see how can we make that same kind of engagement happen in Omaha. We have been talking about trying to make this Omaha Lincoln link just here at First Sky Omaha, connected with some people out there to create that link, just because of that, just so we can get some of that vibe and do more here. So speaking of you, I'm hearing that the actuals that are happening here has to do with engagement. You can tell us some actual things that are going on that is the difference between, since you're in both spaces, right?
I mean, that's my opinion, right?
Yeah.
But as far as the link, there's some organizations down there, and I'd even, if you haven't made a connection, love to help make that happen, like the Malone Community Center and the YWCA down there. They have some different organizations down there, and several of them are members of the table. I hate to guess about questions, right? And I'm giving you my opinion. But that I think that's something that should definitely be explored. And I think the best way to do that is kind of having some of these conversations. I mean, I'm still figuring Lincoln out. The Nebraska table is headquartered in Lincoln, and I spent a lot more time down there, but majority of my time down there these past few months have really been because of state legislature. The team is getting a lot more acclimated. I got to shout out Wyshell, because leading up to these city elections in Lincoln, She headed up our Lincoln Get Out the Vote coalition. And it's not always easy working with a bunch of nonprofits, right? There are egos and attitudes and trauma built in that creates a lot of those egos and attitudes. And that trauma is usually inflicted on these communities by people in power. And so, she's been hanging out that Lincoln GOTV coalition. She was in Lincoln on Sunday canvassing with them. And so I really have to shout out them on the nonpartisan side who did a lot of work as well. Our members in Lincoln, the volunteers who came and helped out, our communications team. I mean, you should have seen, we had people making calls the other day and in Arabic, Korean, sending texts in all these different languages, just really, really being inclusive about it as well, recognizing that Omaha and Lincoln, aren't just, just a couple of different types of people. It's very diverse there as well. So it's really enjoyable to watch our teams, do this work in a really inclusive way. And just kind of see everything unfold. So I just wanted to shout Wyshell out and the organizing team and our members. So
man, Wyshell did a speech over at Brother Taylor's street naming in front of the African American Bookstore, and I was like, man, it struck me how powerful of a speaker she is, and then she spoke a lot about where why where she got her start and how the African American Bookstore helped and informed what she's doing now. And I just kept thinking, I was like, woo, man, her and Kimara teamed up. Now that they're teamed up, there's going to be some real movement happening around here.
Yeah.
So.
You mentioned that the other day, and I made sure to elevate that during our staff meeting so everyone could hear about that. Wyshell, it's she's proof that we have so many people in our communities who made, like myself, maybe we don't have all the college degrees because I ain't got nan one, right? But still are people who can be invested in, who have so much to give, and that lived experience, it shows how powerful it is, especially when it comes to connection to community and being able to translate that through storytelling, kind of like what she did the other day, is really powerful too. So I try to uplift her every chance I get. So keep sharing that so I can keep doing it too.
But you should have seen it. I was fumbling my camera. She was, I was trying to get.
She got to going, and you was like, "Oh, I gotta get this. I gotta
get this." I was fumbling the camera around, and then I missed. She had a fist up, and I missed that shot and got around. She pulled it down. Man, I was. She and then when she got done speaking and walked by, it was like a rock star walked by. It was man. I was impressed.
I'm glad you did that, Kimara, as far as elevating that in the meeting, because I kind of get the sense like. It's clear that even Wyshell doesn't sense how powerful she is and can be, and a lot of people in the community are like that. And man, we gotta stop sleeping on ourselves, y'all. We gotta stop sleeping on ourselves.
But you know what, Buddy, too, though, sometimes we get with different places and organizations who don't develop us. They don't invest in developing us. And I'm telling you, as somebody I'm new to people management as far as in the job space. Now, I've led people for sure, right? But one thing that I've learned, and I promise to do at all times, is develop my people. That is so important because it's empowering. And like you said, sometimes, self-included, we don't really understand what we have. And so it takes someone else to tell us. So I try to be mindful of that with people and really tell them when I see something in them, because that might be the only time they hear it.
Right.
There's whole organizations and whole systems in place that give people reassurance. I was just talking to the board at the OEAAs and talking about the importance of the awards ceremonies. I used to not care nothing about them, but now I understand that acknowledgement and putting you in a category and putting juxtaposition next to other people in that category is important. So that goes the same for organizers and everything else. Jump in the chat real quick. Marianne Williams says, I'm a big fan of Buddi Weber. He's young and motivated. He's in law school at Creighton too. Sounds like something we ought to have on the show. He can also give us some insights about what he's doing. 3 things are standing out to me. The engagement of people in seats in Lincoln. Also the town halls that they regularly have, which I feel like we need more of here. And then also having debates, more debates. So Marianne Williams also says there's a mayoral debate at the Malone Center, which I thought was great. They were addressing BIPOC directly and taking questions from BIPOC community. So again, I guess it's not really three things; it's two things, because we're still talking about a town hall. We're talking about meeting and having debates and having conversations with people in seats, and people being engaged in that kind of thing there too. So I think there would be a lot more engagement if there was more regular contact, more regular meetings, more regular town halls and stuff with our elected officials. I think that would be great. I feel like there's a lot of separation with certain sides. We talked earlier a little bit about the BID and the 24th Street BID, which I always feel like is kind of a separate situation from, what Juanita Johnson, puts respect on her name, is doing. Sometimes it's a different situation from what the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation is doing, and so there's all these different silos. And not a whole, and also Black Men United, who have like the Hungry Club and stuff going on at Big Mama's Kitchen. So like, when do all these groups get to mix together and talk and have some conversation and see some movement with the elected officials that we have here, is my question. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing Lincoln do a better job at that than us. And go ahead, Kimara.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, like, the only other time I've seen it again is with my neighborhood alliance. I'm just saying, and I elevate that, but it's real. My city council person, my state senator, my county commissioner. And this was regular, consistent, once a month, and it was a chance for like real communication with these people. So I guess I would just say a +1, and that's more invested in like neighborhood groups.
Right. Mr. Erica Phelps says, I need to go Google because I know the name Gerald Massey, but can't recall why. I'm sitting here right now going, how we need to have some of these Lincolnites on the show. We've been talking about making that kind of Omaha Lincoln connection with First Sky Omaha anyway. We should do that.
I was connected with Brody.
For sure. Tony Johnson 12 says Lincoln groups discuss why Omaha groups present. Main difference. That's interesting. Present. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, actually, it's interesting you said that, and I need to probably get Wyshell and Riley to talk about it a little bit more. When we were in Grand Island just a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned this situation going on with building the sub police station in the library. Well, I had a lot of work to do. I told you I've been working on my self-care. And so I sent Wyshell and Riley to this community meeting they were having about this situation. And it was very interesting because we went out to dinner afterwards. So I asked him to like debrief it for me, let me know what happened. And one of the things that Riley pointed out was the discussion that happened. Mm-hmm. And he said, Kimara, he said, if meetings in Omaha went the way that this meeting in Grand Island went, he's like, I couldn't even imagine. He said it was a really beautiful thing, is what he said. And for Riley to describe any sort of meeting as beautiful with any police in the room is something, because he is not a fan. I'm just saying. And so I really want to dive into that a little bit more, and especially now hearing this conversation. Like, I want to ask him, exactly what was happening with the discussion that made it appear to you the way that it did. And maybe that's something that we can try to start tying into meetings in this space here in Omaha. But it might have something to do with that too, what you were just saying, Paul. It just kind of struck me.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of want to go back to the Black Votes Matter meeting that we had with, Brother Cliff Albright and Brother Preston Love Jr. at the Highlander, and how you yourself admitted that there was more conversation, there were breakout groups, it was kind of more interactive, and you left that feeling more energized versus again what we talked about, and let's just call it what it is. Brother Tony Johnson talked about groups present. We're talking about the North Omaha, the state of North Omaha meetings, which really, I went to one. That's all it really was a presentation, which, I mean, it's cool to communicate the information, but we got to move past that. And I've always mentioned that. So it's cool to have those. I don't want to, disrespect anybody who's organized, because that takes work to organize all of those and to bring all those organizations together to present what they are doing. But that can't be it. That can't be the end all be all. We got to do more work. So yeah, I just, Kimara, you can kind of speak to that as far as that meeting and
Right.
the Black Voters Matter and the Cliff Albright, and maybe what has come out of that? Has there been any movement or motion on those plans since then? Speaking of meetings, with discussion.
Right. Yeah, and I'm gonna share that with you. What I was thinking about just now was maybe part of it, because what I got from the Black Political Summit that we had was, I was simply thinking about it. It's like there were really good questions that were asked. There was really great discussion that was had as well. And so maybe those are two pieces that need to be a part of anything that happens. But for the Black Political Summit, and I did put some information on y'all's Facebook page yesterday. But so at the Black Political Summit, just for those who aren't aware, in February there was a political summit. There were a lot of different breakout groups based upon different things. One for like young voters, one for like the vote in the church, one for grassroots organizing. There were just different groups, and so since then. Preston from Black Votes Matter has put together a task force that has met a couple of times. I was only at one of those meetings. But what has happened is all the information that was pulled, they reviewed all of that raw data from the different breakout sessions. They condensed it, they consolidated it, clarified the data, and then they've developed a list of recommendations, which I saw, but I'm not even going to tell you right now what's on it. I cannot remember off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. They're also like working on a logo, which is really important when we're just talking about branding and stuff like that. So they are having the next steps includes translating the recommendations into a framework for the strategic plan of action. They're going to complete a draft of the plan, and then they plan to roll out that at the second summit that they plan to have on June 24th. Okay. Now, this Saturday, the task force will be meeting at 3:00 at Mount Moriah. Now, I saw Tony's question on Facebook. At first, I was like, man, I ain't gonna go get all that information. Bro just got to come to the meeting. But I will tell you, from what I remember, Deb Shaw has been a part of that. Preston, of course, Crystal Fox, Barry Thomas, Chris Carruthers, who is the Deputy Election Commissioner, Dr. Terry Crawford, myself. I feel like Terry Sanders was at one. I really just don't remember. But Mount Moriah, 3:00 on Saturday. You are more than welcome to attend and provide your input, because only you can really speak for you, right? And this is for anybody who's in this, who's hearing my voice. You can attend and be a part of that, which I think is important. And so that is pretty much what's happening with that. But yeah, I was very impressed with it. Like I said, Cliff Albright, who was with Black Voters Matter, I did make that connection with him last year, and got to talking to him, and he was happy to come to Omaha, Nebraska. I'm still in touch with him as well. And I thought it was a great connection. And actually that connection has actually continued. And Monday we were all on a call with Black Voters Matter, Black Votes Matter, some other people across the country doing this work. And Preston has gone on to solidify Black Votes Matter, and Nebraska is having their own sort of chapter with Black Voters Matter. So that connection has continued. Nice. Which is bringing some different supports specifically to the Black community. But with that, I did talk with Brother Albright, and I asked him for connections to people doing his level of work in the Latinx community, in the Native and or Indigenous communities, so that we can make those types of connections as well.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And that kind of goes to Sarah Phelps' comment in the chat. She says, in Omaha, discussions might happen, but there's never follow-up. Promises are made and forgotten. So it's definitely beautiful to hear that there will be some follow-up, and there will be some extra meetings, and there's things moving forward on the work that has already been done. So that's what we like to see, and that's what we need more of. So thank you, and kudos to Brother Preston Love Jr. and Cliff Albright.
Yeah. Most def. Tony Justin 12 has reminded me that there is 360 meetings going on. That's with the Empowerment Network. They speak to the mayor, chief of police. This happens weekly. He says weekly Omaha 360 meetings are primarily presentations too. I remember when I first got in town, I believe maybe 3 years after I got in town, I started going to a couple of those 360 meetings. I can't remember why I stopped going. I wanted to stay engaged, but I also kind of, me when I start feeling like my time is I should be doing something else. Then I'll back away from a thing, and I really can't remember why I did, but I don't remember. Uh, okay, well, go ahead. You can tell me why I stopped. Tell me why I stopped, then, Kimara.
No, why I stopped, not you.
Okay,
I
okay.
can tell you why I stopped.
I'm asking if you know why I stopped to tell me that too.
It's probably the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I will say we did during the pandemic, as Mine and Soul, we were a part of the some of the calls that they had, and it was, if I remember correctly, kind of along those same lines. A lot of presentations. No real actionable items or tasks or.
I remember rolling my eyes a lot when the chief was talking.
Oh God. Okay.
Tell me why you stopped going, Kimara.
So now you remind me of two reasons, actually. So the first one, so in 2020, I brought this up before about just what I was witnessing in my neighborhood. And the crazy part is, in the 360 meetings, the same things were happening in North Omaha on 24th Street. It was the same exact things, right? And so if you look at Omaha 360, they have about 7 or 8 strategies that they focus on, okay? And so one of them is enforcement. There's other strategies. I personally felt like the meetings were strictly about enforcement, first of all. And so I kept saying that, hey, we need to do something, or something bad is going to happen, okay? Right. So one night in Southside Terrace, 8 people got shot. And so I was like, okay, see, I've been talking to y'all and saying something bad gonna happen, and something bad happened, right? I said, can we please, we're still meeting virtually, have some breakout sessions during this time in this space where we can focus on the other strategies like intervention and prevention. Can we just do that, And Ricky's like, oh yeah, it's a good idea, but nothing ever happened. That was one. Back in the day when I was still at the library, I mentioned this before, if you remember, there was a double homicide that happened in Spencer Projects. Well, the 2 kids responsible for that were 2 of my kids at the library, okay? So one of them in 2019, this is a very traumatized young man, okay? So I had to put him out. Me and Roscoe Wallace. Roscoe was coming down to help me with my program, right? Because it's a bunch of young men. It can't just be me. And so we put him out because he was just acting up, which he was probably uncomfortable because there was a lot of serious conversation happening. Went outside, jumped up and down on somebody's bicycle and damaged it, and left. We at the library. The man came in complaining about his bike. We see it on video. We have to ban and bar you. Instead of the library manager banning and barring him, which I get, because we doing this every week. Police, kids, fights, the whole nine. You get tired, okay? She had the roving police officer serve the ban and bar. By the time it was done, we had about 14 police, 10 police cars, all behind a little 15-year-old boy jumping up and down the bike. So I was so pissed, I couldn't even go to Omaha 360. I said, I'm going to give them a week, because if I go in there next week, it's going to be problems. So I waited 2 weeks and went, and lo and behold, I know it wasn't nothing but God, Chief Schmaderer was there. So he goes through his whole spiel. He's like, anybody got any questions? I got 2, okay? Because I've had 2 weeks to process this. And y'all always talking about community policing. What I witnessed at the Charles B. Washington branch was not what I think community policing is. So in those 2 weeks, I started Googling what is community policing. Well, there's no definitive answer because each community is different. 2 questions I got for you, Chief Schmaderer, are: 1, how is the Omaha Police Department tying in diversity training to their strategic plan? Okay, and I already know from research that your deputy chiefs are the ones who do it. Okay, and 2, how does the Omaha Police Department define community policing?
Community policing, right?
Yeah, I remember talking to you during this whole time.
Oh my gosh, he stood up, and it was so bad his deputy chief had to get up and start trying to talk for him. And so my whole thing was it just ended there and there was nothing else after that, and I was just completely just disappointed, I guess, because
Yeah.
of left.
Couple things real quick. Ran into Brother Willie Barney again last weekend. They had the 1 year anniversary of the Carver Bank situation. I rolled by, saw him stand out there. He asked me to come back. I fully forgot to do that, but we did talk about just shout it out. Remember, we're gonna have you on the show, so we're definitely gonna have him on the show. We want to talk about what's going on there with the leadership of the Empowerment Network. They also host the 360 meetings that Ricky Smith is it heads up, and we've gotten several requests now to ask Ricky Smith to come on to the show. Number one, because of the drama that's happening in the OPS school board. I was sent a video of the meeting to see the chaos at the end of the meeting that kind of ensued. We just got into it right before the show, like we were going to try to see all the rest of it, but it started getting hot and then the show started. Man. So that's happening. But we've been getting several people, several chat chimers, several people, several ghost listeners have been reaching out to me saying have him on. We got some questions and concerns. So we will be reaching out to Ricky Smith to have him on about all of these questions and concerns. Let's get our questions and concerns in mind first. Remember, we don't really we have a certain kind of conversation here on the show. We're gonna continue to host the show in the way that we do, so that we can all be respectful and have a constructive conversation that is gonna go somewhere. So that we can keep on having people on. Don't know if he'll come through, but we will ask him to come on through and have some discussion. And so get your questions ready for that. Yeah. It is 8:31 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we only got a few more minutes with Kimara. Would you like to comment a little bit on what's going on with that school board search for superintendent? And you have any more inside information on what's good in that hood?
I went last night and watched the video. And, just watching it, I was like, there's a lot of emotion here in this space. And I have always been someone where, especially in those types of spaces, I try my best to operate without emotion. It's very important for me because I'm a Black woman. First of all, I have to be careful because if I do one little wrong thing, I'm going to be hostile. But that's what it is, right?
Don't want to be the angry Black woman.
Exactly. So I'm always very mindful. And I'm also trying to be mindful of what I say because I have so much background on this because, of course, I was a board member and I'm still very much connected. And I'm also trying to be mindful that, if I call myself a leader, I owe it to community to be just honest and transparent. So sometimes it's kind of hard to balance because information is powerful and it can also be dangerous. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm based on the information that I'm receiving, I'm just very disappointed, but I'm not shocked. I have not found, and I know he gonna hear this and it just is what it is, but if I'm being honest, I have not found Mr. Smith someone that's easy to work with. So when Jane Erdenberger says what she says, I believe it 150,000%. And that's just how I feel. And I try to be fair. I try to be equitable, but I have watched him operate for so long with 360, with even before that, and I have just never been impressed. I was also not impressed on school board, and just the way I see him operate, I imagine he's gonna have a lot to say, probably negative. I'll probably be on social media, but it's just really disappointing to me, just as far as leadership goes, especially considering that it seems to be like what I'm getting from what I watched in the video is that they want to make sure that there's plenty of community input. And my thing is that, I was on this board and represent a whole neighborhood alliance, right? And I'm still not even hearing where they're talking about even including alliances. And so it's just baffling. And I have a lot of thoughts and so many, but I think that when it comes to our kids on this, it just deserves better, I guess.
Let me jump in there real quick. For those that didn't get to watch the video, don't really know what we're talking about, what Aaron Berger said and everything else. Can you give a little context about what it was that she was asking in this video?
So basically, it seems that the accountability committee, the Omaha Public School Board has subcommittees. One of them is an accountability committee. And Ricky Smith is the chair of this accountability committee. What she has been saying is that when she was on there, because her and Nick have since resigned from it, they hadn't had a meeting for like 7 weeks. And so they just wanted some information and communication about the search for the firm that is going to be locating a new superintendent for Omaha Public Schools. And so they're creating a timeline for that. And I guess the timeline was on the agenda for approval last night or Monday night. And there were some questions on the timeline about, I guess the board members are supposed to have one-on-one conversations with this firm. And on the timeline, those one-on-one conversations aren't happening until September. And so the board members feel like, as representatives of the sub-districts that voted for them, they should be having some sort of conversation. And there was also a question around the list of different community organizations that would be consulted with. And it sounds like there's some question around, it looks like there's 3 days allotted for this community input. And I'm gathering that some of the school board members think it should be more than 3 days.
Yeah, 3 days is not enough time. He's been kind of pushing back on that a little bit, saying that they have a plan. Is that what I'm gathering from that?
Right. And it sounds like, when I was watching the meeting last night, it just, like I said, there was just so much emotion. It just, it sounded to me like Jane just wanted some clarification on some things. But again, there's like this emotion built into it. And so it was just kind of a little bit of just like back and forth. And when that starts happening, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of shut down a little bit.
Yeah. There's an article that's out right now that's talking about this holdup for this superintendent search, which kind of caught our attention as well. And then like I said, even before that article came out, I was getting some DMs and stuff of what was going on in the room and how and a link to the video so I can see what actually happened in the meeting and all those things. So it seems like this $300,000 a year superintendent job that they're trying to do a search for is having some problems getting off the ground and getting underway, and a lot of it has to do with some disagreements with the board about the procedure here, whether or not they're going to spend more time talking to the people, if they're going to allow for public input more than they have allotted for so far. And then, of course, there was the drama of the two members that decided to come off the committee because they didn't feel like they were being heard. So there's still a lot going on, a lot of questions to develop here, because we are planning on reaching out to Brother Ricky Smith and having him come on and answer some of those questions. So, again, if you guys are in the chat and you too, Kimara, if anybody has questions for him that are going to be constructive questions in order for us to get to some kind of conversation, please, put them in the chat, put them in Friends of First Sky Omaha. You can even email, you can even DM me with the questions. Let's try to put some things together so that when we have them on, will be ready to have a discussion, if that will be possible.
Yeah.
Say again?
I was just gonna say to Kimara's point, it seems like the biggest thing is distrust. A lot of trauma and distrust on the school board, and from what people are saying, promises not being met from 360 and the school board. It does seem like our brother Ricky is at the center of that.
And you know what I really think that comes from? I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I was on the board. One of the things that I talked to them about before I even left was, there's like no relationship building that really happens.
Right.
Like me, I'm a relationship builder by nature. Like I'm going to come and sit and talk to you, the little old lady, Nancy, they always talking about the real old lady. That's my girl. We sat next to each other. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I'm going to call her today. Nancy, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I do. But I just did not see the type of relationship building when you are serving a city, because you are. Why are you not building relationships with each other? I think that's the problem with city council. I think that's a problem with OPS. I think it's a problem with state legislature, all of this. You know what I'm saying? If you can just build relationships with each other, your party don't even matter, because we just sitting down having a conversation and coming to a consensus with each other.
As humans.
So yeah, as humans, exactly.
Right. Well, that's not something that people learn in school. They don't learn how to have relationships or to deal with their own emotions or to have face-to-face conversations or any of that. So
it's like the town halls. Sorry.
Right. Town halls too, and this is definitely needed.
I mean, that's what we're here for. Conversation rules the nation. We're here to facilitate just that.
Absolutely.
Proper communication.
And I think about OPS, we always talk about it being a little city and all this money that's happening. There's an article in the newspaper right now about something like 14 million they're about to give to another bus situation so they can have a secondary busing, a bus company. Since the first bus company is losing members and not having a lot of workers. So I mean, they're making these. We talk about it all the time. Even if you don't have kids in OPS, what the money that's going out affects us, affects the city. There's people that are getting jobs at the bus place and so on.
And that is a Black-owned business too, as well, right? STA.
I believe it is
the bus company.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe it is.
Mr. Salas. Matter of fact, Hunter Salas' dad.
Okay.
I went to college with him when I was going to see more.
These decisions are being made all the time, and money is being spent all the time, and we're looking at who's in charge, and having a little issue with it sometimes because it does affect us very much. 8:41 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, before we get out of here, tell us what's good in the hood.
Well, next week is a super exciting week for me. I have the opportunity to present with Lead Diversity, their cohort. I'm going to do about a 3-hour presentation with them on just organizing, specifically in neighborhoods. And I just love organizers to doing that. And I also go to Black Wall Street next week, and I cannot wait. I am so excited to get back down there. Yeah, it's an annual thing. So me and a couple of the homegirls get in the car and getting on down the road. I love a good road trip. I cannot wait. Like I said, bikers from across the nation. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. I can't wait to get to the museums again. I am just so excited to soak it in.
That's the way to go, because I don't like driving down south by myself, but I'll go with a whole bunch of motorcycle heads, so we can roll together.
There you go.
I mean, yeah.
Black Wall Street too, man. Come on, give us some history.
Yeah.
All right.
BlackWallStreetRally.com. Check it out. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on as well. Always doing the due diligence, always taking the notes, always making the reports, always being in the room. We wouldn't know we wouldn't even be able to continue without you. So we appreciate you doing all the work that you do.
Oh, can I say this?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Thursday, tomorrow at the South Omaha Neighborhood Alliance. As you know, there is a lot going on in South Omaha right now, and part of our mission is communication. And so we are going to have Brian Cruz and Chris Carruthers, who are our Douglas County election commissioners, coming to talk about this recall petition process. I reached out to our city council president, Pete Festerson, to see if he would come to our meeting. I think he has some graduation parties to attend, but I'm trying to get some information about possible options within the city as well. So they will be there, both Brian and Chris, to answer any questions or whatnot about this process. So that is Thursday, tomorrow at the Kroc Center at 6:30 p.m.
That's what's up, man. We trust Chris. Chris gave us that information last time about what was going on. He held his ground with the voting. So I do remember that from him. So it'd be good to hear from him on what's going to happen now that the laws have changed and what's going to happen with all that, the mail-in stuff and all that stuff. We need to know all that.
Yeah, and if Chris can't, I'm gonna tell you, Brian's a good dude too. He stays, the Republican and Democrat. I get that, but Brian has always been pretty transparent, on the nose when it comes down to this voter ID stuff that's been happening. We've been on the same page as well. So
that's what's up. One more thing you just reminded me about: the banquet.
Yeah.
Tripping.
Oh yeah.
On the annual banquet. You guys got a fancy flyer going on here. I like it.
That's right. That's on 24th Street.
5:30 p.m. social, 6:30. The program starts June the 1st,
Yes,
2023.
yes.
Mark the
We're
calendar
giving
for the
away some
Crocs.
awards. We have some great food. All the money raised goes to our mini grant program. We're also giving away some scholarships to Metropolitan Community College. So
Hey,
Okay. Is it? Did we dress up for this? I got to go dust off the tux. What's happening?
come as you are.
Oh, okay. I
okay,
can do
okay.
that.
I'll be
Croc Center.
dressed up, but I have to present and talk and all that good stuff.
Gonna be at the Croc Center. Croc Center gets
At the
down.
Croc Center. Yes,
Croc
yes,
Center gets
yes.
down. I like the Croc Center.
Yeah,
Yeah.
One
man.
of only, I believe, 9 in the United States. So
Wow. Yeah, that's what's up. Oh well, we appreciate everything that you do. And as a matter of fact, somebody just said it in the chat. Pop says, "Congrats, Kimra. Have a great time too. We love you and greatly appreciate you and your hard work."
There you go.
Appreciate
my
that.
bad.
Pop said it.
Really appreciate you for coming on again, and I can't wait to see you next week. Stay safe when you go down to the Tulsa.
Oh yeah.
They might want to try to recreate Black Wall Street if enough of us get down there. So you better just
Oh man. Nah, it's gonna be good times. Good times.
keep your head on the swivel, though. You know how we do.
You got that right. All right.
All right.
You have a good one. Bye bye.
Peace.
Right on. Thank you for everybody who put in on the chat here. It's a discussion, great questions, great comments. For those of you that have not that only came in periodically during the show, definitely check it out in its entirety. Go back to First Sky Omaha, the Facebook page, the YouTube channel, and watch the show in its entirety. And read the chat when you do, because there's a lot of good information going on there all the time.
Man.
Good questions.
I do want to address a couple comments really quickly. Brother Vaughn chime in and looks like Wanda Lewis going back and forth about how North Omaha is being represented. We've been talking about this guy. Of course, Kimara just mentioned it. Of course, we talked to Brother Kasim about it on Monday as far as the representation of the violence, what's going on. And Vaughn Chapman says, why is the intentional misrepresentation by the chief of police and the empowerment network of what's really going on in Omaha so important for those responsible for that misrepresentation? And Miss Wanda Lewis replying, saying, I'm wondering, why is it so important to them to shine their lights in other cities and states wanting to adopt their program? Again, Omaha police has been kind of parading themselves as the shining example of policing in this nation. But again, Wanda Lewis says, why is the community left out of that discussion on how the program is working and what is being done to implement change other than statistics from the police department? What exactly does the role of the economic development play other than facilitating meetings amongst each other? Or are they patrolling the streets or providing services to those who are afflicted? So definitely some good questions. Definitely some
Very good questions. People have been approaching me regularly since we've been doing this past couple of years about us perhaps putting some data together ourselves, becoming a source of being able to gather data through surveys. And when I think about doing that, I think about questions like that. Let's talk to the people in our neighborhoods and ask them how the police department's doing. What's the status? What's the state of these organizations? Do you know who these organizations are? Have you heard of these organizations? Have they affected you personally? What do you think these organizations are doing to better North and South Omaha? I think about that all the time. We might need to start doing that here in the next seasons. Really kind of put something out there so we can get some data ourselves. We're talking to the people regularly, 3 times a week, 2 hours a day. Nobody else is really putting in that kind of time talking to people who are directly connected here to the Black community and to the North and South Omaha. So we, and again, somebody needs to get some data. Gallup ain't calling us up asking us nothing about what's going on with Omaha 360 or any of the other organizations. So again, we have to say, where's that data at? What are the people saying here? What the people that are supposedly being, taken advantage of what's going on here with the, with these organizations, especially the nonprofit organizations that are supposed to be here helping economic development, education, so on and so forth. What's going on there?
Amy H. Dodot, saying Heart Ministry Center will be very interested in data gathering project. So there you go. Try to assist with that. Brother Tony Johnson also, this is something that I have personally been thinking about, and maybe we can put together with our partners like the Reader, Flatwater Free Press, of course, the Democratic Party of Nebraska, maybe even get some Republican candidates to engage with the people as
Yeah,
well.
bacon look
But
good.
right. But Tony Johnson saying First Sky Omaha should host forums. We need to stop trying to uh, blank these groups. I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say there. But they are set in their ways for decades. Community will probably respond better to you than these groups.
It's funny you say that. About midway through the show, I thought of that. I thought if we implemented our style of
Communication,
yeah, like if we kind of what do you call it when we're facilitating the conversation,
mediating.
mediating. Thank you. Our
Yes.
style of mediation, and also because we're building the First Sky stage right now as well, which will consist of musical guests plus political speakers plus conversation periods of conversation. We're trying to build this stage that might be able to kind of travel around and bring all the aspects of First Sky Omaha to the people. That might be something we can do. If there's a town hall that's a little bit more our style, and then
Mm-hmm.
we host a real discussion in our style of mediation, maybe that's something that we can get into. So we'll definitely mull that around, figure out our capacity for that, see if we can find funding to make some of those kinds of things happen, and maybe also partner with partners and volunteers to try to do that. I wouldn't be opposed to trying to put something like that together. So let's keep talking about it for sure. Um, and I like that idea a lot. Actually, I like
Yeah, yeah.
like I said, I've been thinking about it this whole time. Like we've been calling for town halls, but what kind of town? When we do have them, what are they? What are they? They definitely are going to be presentation pieces. They're definitely going to be conversations in our style, and
Right.
then there's going to be a reason to be there besides just being there trolling and being angry and everything else. We need to have we can even have a real talk, real time, face to face discussion point of the town hall meeting where two different groups get on stage and speak directly to each other. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we can do that's in our style, and maybe that is something that we need around here that
Right.
we're just not gonna get nowhere else.
Man. So, real discussion, conversation rules the nation.
Yep.
Real how do we, get anything done? So
So true, so true. Hey,
so yeah, big shout out to all the chat chimers, man. Tony Johnson says bet chat chimers will help fund. Okay. Well, let's organize and mobilize. That's kind of actually what the next season will be about.
big
This
time.
season is teamwork, making the dream work, kind of identifying who the teams are, what the team is, what are we trying to, what is the dream that we're trying to get work, identify the team members, and then we're gonna move.
Word. And then of course, our brand of town hall will be live streamed because that's what we
Man,
do.
man.
8:52 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, let's do this.
What's the haps? What's happening? What's going down?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to spend a little bit of time doing some haps today on this Wednesday, Women's Wednesday. What is it? May the 3rd?
Yeah, man. Already. Tomorrow is May the 4th, so just an early May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you.
Yes.
Yes. Appreciate you. We will jump into a few things. Buddy, I don't know if you have any haps to check out, but in the meantime,
Nothing prepared.
meantime,
Nothing prepared. Give me a
that's
second.
all good. Of course, we're going to throw this up again. Put that June 1st down. I love how a neighborhood association is putting this together. Sona annual banquet. So I mean, this is how neighborhood associations and neighborhood meetings should happen, man. It should be important enough to have an annual get together. You know what I'm saying? So let's support this, man. At the Kroc Center, Sona annual banquet happening June the 1st. Go ahead and mark your calendars, and we'll come back to that as well. So definitely check that out. Don't also forget Heart Ministry Center, man, having this For the Love of Barbecue situation going down.
Ain't
So I got
looking good.
mark your calendars. May 7th. What is that? This weekend?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
4
yeah.
days from today.
But you sound like you want me to freeze dry you up and wrap them up and send them out your way, huh?
Man, I'm trying to cut back on the meat, especially the swine and the red meat, man. I don't eat pork, but definitely try to cut out on the red meat. But you might have to send some yard bird my way, man. I'll take some chicken. You know what I mean?
At least some sauce.
You know what I mean? Some sauce, some jerk. I'll take it.
Shout out to Heart Ministry Centers. We're definitely talking to you guys more and more and trying to team up on some things. You guys don't forget the Heart Ministry Centers right across the street from the Culture House, and it seemed to be very much aligned with a lot of the things that we're trying to fight for and do. And as always, Amy H. No Dot always jumping out there talking about what she wants to help volunteer with us to do. So,
Man.
so I'm gonna go ahead and big it up. Plus, y'all know how to throw a party. Let's have For the Love of Barbecue party go on with five different barbecue styles that is going to be out there. You know how to get some people there. I'm sure this is going to be chock full of folks. Rib Shack in the building. Come on, man. And also brought to you by Omaha Star. I dig that the Omaha Star is part of this as well. Hashtag lunch bag. Check that out.
Man.
But mark your calendars, man. May 7th, that's happening this coming up weekend. Definitely check them out and see what's going on. Also, what's coming up here on the 28th through the 30th, this is something that might be really, really interesting for a lot of people. I'm meeting more and more people of color that have family members that have autism. And so this is Autism in Black Conference going on, Cultivating the Black Family Experience. Join us for a virtual weekend. So you can do this from home. Virtual weekend focusing on autism and the Black family experience. I like that a lot. April 28th through the 30th. The registration is right there in the link. You can see that autisminblack.org/conference 2023. Sounds like something they're going to be doing every year, which is probably a really good thing. And you can maybe find a lot of support, a lot of folks that are going through some of the same things that we are, and find some real support in those groups. So shout out to Autism in Black for putting this together. As a matter of fact, I'd love to have somebody. I don't even know who is behind this. I'd like to have somebody on. I can't remember who sent this to me, but the people behind this organization here, I'd love to have them on and talk about that a little bit as well. Don't forget, my man George Clinton is going to be at Steelhouse September 17th. Mark your dates for that. There's also some other stuff going on in Steelhouse I forgot to grab, but coming up this weekend, there's some things happening at Steelhouse as well. Man, I need to go ahead and grab that, because I was looking at that thing like Steelhouse is really trying to do the thing a little bit.
They're trying to get down, trying to make it do what it do.
They're having some kind of hip hop conversation. That's happening. I heard M1 from Dead Prez is gonna be out here.
Oh man, okay.
Yeah, it's going down. So let me see if I can find that real quick.
Okay, well, while you look for that, shout out to Ariel's 402, the mayor, Mayor Sanchez, coming through and letting us know, reminding us that a Cinco de Mayo parade is next Saturday. Biggest, baddest parade in the Midwest. Carnival is not appealing to me, he says, but definitely get out there, support the community, support the organizations, the businesses, get you some elotes, get out there, have a good time. Of course, some of the partners will also be in the parade representing, so big shout out to them. If I'm not mistaken, isn't Benson Theater doing something as well for Cinco de Mayo?
Yes, man. We're having a very, very serious Cinco de Mayo celebration. There will be a tequila tasting, so it's still a celebration.
Celebration.
It's still a celebration, but excuse me. Yeah, it is. It's going down on. As a matter of fact, it'll be first Friday that is happening. Cinco de Mayo happens to land on the first Friday, so it's going down in Benson. And tequila tasting. It's a serious celebration. It's not going to be like any of the celebrations that are going around. But I will tell you, the mariachi band. What was that? I can't remember the name of the mariachi band that we had over there at the theater.
Yeah, I know you're talking about, but I can't remember the name.
Yeah, but they're going to be there. I mean, it's going to be several performances. It's going to be food. It's going to be off the hook. Definitely check it out. It's like I said, the people that are putting this on are seriously got some history behind the actual celebration. They're treating this celebration as important, not just for people of other cultures to come on and put on a sombrero and eat tacos. This is something different.
It's a real celebration.
A real celebration with some real performances and so on and so forth. I'll give you some more information on that.
Mayor Sanchez helping us out. Mariachi Zapata.
Mariachi Zapata, man, they got down over at the Benson Theater earlier in the year, and I can't wait for them to come on through. So that's what's up. Yeah, Cinco de Mayo is gonna be dope, and also, of course, it looks like we're gonna get really good weather for the parade.
Beautiful.
So yeah, man, beautiful.
Get out there, have a good time, y'all.
Also, don't forget to mark your calendars. Is going down. Celebration of the legacy of Malcolm X is happening for sure on May 19th through the 21st. Over there at the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation on 3448 Evans Street. You guys know where it is. Definitely check it out. We'll be honoring El Haj Malik El Shabazz, aka Malcolm X. Life and legacy. I'm glad to see that they're doing some things. I ran into Joanna LaFleur over at the street naming for Brother Taylor, and they got a lot of stuff going on over there. So definitely mark your calendars down for that. This is something that ought to be getting bigger every year, as far as I'm concerned.
Man,
like it used to be. Everybody tells me about back in the day when it went down, how big the celebrations were. So it looks like they got a couple days going on this time, 19th through the 21st. Sounds like they're bringing that scale back to the Malcolm X Memorial, birthday celebration. So that's what's up.
I need it.
Absolutely. And for those of you that are on this tip right here, I want to go ahead and bring this back up to, man. Mark your calendars, July 28th. If you can get out to Napa, it's going down again. The Blue Note Jazz Festival is happening. We're still debating on whether or not we're going, to be honest, because it's quite the ticket. But I definitely want to be. This is something that we definitely support because of the kind of music and the kind of musicianship and the kind of things that are happening here. It's a departure from what's going on in mainstream music, which I think is important to mention. Mm-hmm. It's the excellence. It's actually the excellence that's happening in music. For those of people that think that the music and the music industry is gone, no, there's a lot happening here. If you can see what's going on, Parliament Funkadelic, George Clinton, Rakim, DJ Jazzy Jeff, Talib Kweli, and Madlib.
Man, Bobby McFerrin.
Michelle and Degacello. I saw a video with Bobby McFerrin yesterday. That man is a absolute genius.
Oh, man. Side note.
Yes.
Side note. This reminds me just anecdote or quick story in the life of Buddi3 Da Gawd, Life is God, and my Atlanta excursions. Met Consequence and Angie Stone on Monday.
What?
Yeah, I had to play the video on Friday, but Angie Stone and D'Angelo, speaking of the whole Blue Note family, Angie Stone and D'Angelo have a son.
Right.
Their son is an artist and he's dope. His name is Suavo Twain. He's dope. He got a new song with a D'Angelo sample.
Come on, man. Come on.
He's dope. Shout out to Miss Angie Stone. Definitely met her. And Consequence has a new song with Rick Ross on a Kanye beat. Yeah, for all those who know, you know what I'm saying, about the Good Music family, who know about good music, you know what's going on, man. It's still alive and well. It's still alive and well.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
good music out there. As a matter of fact, we're in an era where we're having some of the best music that we've had in a really, really long time, and it's because people are not concentrating on mainstream much anymore. Which is what's up.
No, actually, it's gonna be a change, man. A lot of radio stations are kind of, and a lot of the industry is kind of going away from the violent kind of hip hop that's been very prevalent over the last couple of years. So hopefully, getting back, more to the good, feel good music, love music, party music. That good stuff. Absolutely.
So Robert Glasper, who heads up this whole Blue Note Festival, won Best R&B at the Grammys, and then Chris Brown came out and was like, who the F is Robert Glasper? And that, to me, that blew up the whole scene, that little interchange right there. Oh, you going to find out who we've been telling you who Robert Glasper is for the past 10 years. Now you about to see.
Man,
let's see what's up. So,
of course, Omaha's own Terrace is going to be there. Big shout out to Terrace. Rest in peace to the legend Curly representing, man. So yeah, man. I mean, it might even be some music that was created here in Omaha, played out there at this festival. So
there is most def. Absolutely. And for those of you remember, Kamasi Washington, who is on the tour as well, came out here very recently to honor Curly Martin's passing, and a bunch of other artists, including came with Terrace. So. We definitely have a connection to what's going on here in real music world, and we want to honor that and keep on pushing that, because that's what's up. It's going down.
Yeah, man.
We're gonna get out of here. Sorry, I'm looking. It's already 9:03. We apologize for being late. Sorry about that. But thank you everybody who's joined in on this conversation. Join us Friday when we're going to be speaking to Brother Senators Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne. The legislative session. We only got a few more days. Like we were saying, it's about to wrap up. So get your questions ready for those brothers. And like I said, really appreciate everything that's happening. No updates on Juneteenth yet, but I am reaching out to Willie Williams because the Reader wants to do a big piece on that situation. So we're gonna talk a little bit more to Willie Williams, who's been heading up that whole Juneteenth celebration. Also, we'll be talking to some people this week as well about what's going on with Native Omaha Days. So
These things are coming up. Mark your calendars. Trust me, we're going to have a lot more to say about those things and even have some and cover some of that stuff too. So
yeah, man. So looking forward to that. It's gonna be an eventful summer, man. It should be a fun summer. Hopefully, everybody has some updates. If you have any plans, definitely let us know. Some things we can support. And Also, that woman I see you talking about, Bobby McFerrin. Check out his children, man. His son will actually be performing at that festival, but his son and his daughter, they get down as well, man. So that, man, it runs in the family. Dope family. A lot of good music coming out of that family. So check them out.
Love it. Buddy, you got some words for the people?
Man, as always, big shout out to the ladies, the dynamic duo. Sister Kimara Snipes and Precious McKesson. We will love and appreciate always being able to speak to those powerful women. And we stand by them and support them, what they're doing. And hopefully we'll definitely continue to be able to do that. Big shout out to all of you, the chat chimers, for letting your mind be free, letting your voice be heard, as always, giving very, very valuable input. And even though, things got a little tense throughout today's conversation, we're here to do that. And I definitely thank everyone for allowing it and facilitating and helping us do that as far as having these conversations that we all need to have. But trying to do so with respect, man. So we're gonna keep moving along, try to get down to the nitty gritty and figure things out together. So without further ado, Paul B, take it away.
Amy H. No Dot says Heart Ministry Center will host the judges for the Juneteenth parade again.
Okay, nice.
So that's what's up. Like I said, Heart Ministries is doing some big things. Shout out to Amy H. No Dot. We'll definitely be talking about how we can team up and do some things here very soon. She says, thank you for another great show. Miss Erica Fell says, one of my favorite episodes. Thank you, everyone. I had opportunity to learn, think, and laugh. Drink water, control your dollars. Check your health. Always to be good to yourselves. You're important. Appreciate you very much.
Beautiful.
Pop says, Women's Wednesday was off the hook. Thank you for what you guys do as well. Love to you and the First Sky fam. Love to you, Pops. Appreciate you very much.
Hey.
Thank you for everybody that's joining us, all the Chad Chimers, all the Ghost listeners. Man, it's going down. I also want to thank the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. I want to give a shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And shout out to you, the Chad Chimers, allowing us to speak with you on all these subjects and provide a space where we can have some real talk, real talk, face-to-face, respectful conversation. That's what it's all about here for us, and we appreciate everybody who's on that. Tony Johnson 12 says, criticism ain't comfortable either. Yep, you're right. It's not comfortable to give it. It's not comfortable to get it sometimes, but we're here to have the real conversations, whether they be hard or soft. The real conversation. As long as we can do it with respect and recognize that we're all on the same team, and that what we're trying to do is pretty much, we're all trying to do the same thing. We just have different styles and need to kind of get that together. But hey, teamwork makes the dream work. Even in families, we got to kind of have a discussion sometime with family members. That ain't always pleasant, but it is what it is. Appreciate you, Kimara. You're awesome too. Like I said, can't really do these things without you guys and the hard work that you guys put in. Boots on the ground and everything else that happens here. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, thank you also for the people who are reoccurring members of the channel as well. $10 people, $25 people, the $50 people. Thank you so much for continuing to be reoccurring members of the channel. That helps us pay the bills here so that we can keep going and make these conversations continue to happen and also to grow. Yeah. So shout out to everybody who's doing that. If you are so inclined, go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the donate button. We can definitely use that so that we can continue to move forward and do these things that are important to us in our neighborhood. So appreciate you very much. Like I said, we'll see you Friday when we're going to speak to the other dynamic duo, Brother Senators Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne.
Put some respect on their names.
Put some respect on their names. Yeah. And put some respect on y'all's names too. Really appreciate everybody in the chat. That's what's up.
Yeah, man, we do it for y'all. Also, speaking of growth and the website, moving closer to updating that. Excited about that. So look out for that announcement coming very soon. We're definitely working diligently to make that happen. But we're doing it all for you. As Paul said, man, we appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. And until next time, peace.
By the way, Vanguard. This is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad,
by any